Let's pop the top. But if you listened last week, Shannon hated these hop waters. We're just pretending she's had one sip and she's being a very good sport about it.
No, I've had like 5, more than the rosé.
Do you feel de-stressed?
From talking to you, not from this hop water. But it's working because we just have a good time without alcohol. 2 episodes ago, you just kept saying how unfun recording is going to be. And you were like, I don't know how we're going to do it. I'm like, we're not like alcoholics. We do things.
You know, it's funny because somebody here came into my office and was like, why are you here so late? You're never here past 5. And I was like, oh, my friend and I are recording our podcast. And he was like, Drunk Wives Club? And I was like, yes. And he's like, aren't you doing dry January? What's the point of recording your podcast if you're not drunk? And I was like, I don't know, but we're still going to try to be
drinking is a thing we like to do. It's not who we are. I'm gonna make that a slogan.
Quote
I'm gonna put that on the back of that sweatshirt.
That's a great quote. I'm so glad this is recording because you have some great one-liners.
I know, that's pretty good. That's a good one. Shoot. I meant to say in last week's episode, this is like talking about like slogans. This is like my new motto for I think it's gonna be like for the month of January, which we're like, over halfway through at this point, but could be like, February because it's like a shorter month, but it's new year, same shit. And it's like, oh, like new year, new me, or new me, new year, whatever. Like people always use it. No, it's like nothing. Like in the first 2 days of the year, I was like, this is literally the same shit.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But like every time that something was happening that annoyed me in 2023 that happened in the first week of January, I was like, New Year, same shit. I literally said it like 100 times at work. I told Mark that like I got a text from someone that was like very similar to texts I've gotten for the last, 8 months of 2023. And I was like, New Year, same shit.
I'm trying to be very zen.
That can be the name of this episode. That's why I wanted to do it for last week's because that would have been a perfect.
I'm going to make sure they don't edit the episode, just like the one where it said, find someone to water your lawn, because I loved that title, that episode.
I loved that.
And some of the edits, like I like that they help with the title, but sometimes they just seem too serious.
That's been one of our most watched episodes.
It's the second one, isn't it?
No. That's the 3rd episode.
Oh, the second one's still always my favorite.
I know. I said that too, and other people didn't think it, but
they're wrong.
Let us know. So far, I don't honestly know what number this is, but let us know which
one we're funniest in, because we're hilarious.
All of them.
Not these 2, because we're sober.
We are still fun when we're sober. When I was pregnant, I was fun.
That's true.
Not at the end, but at the beginning and the middle, it was fun.
My sober January activity I've just decided is trying to learn TikTok dances. So like that WAP song. I love freaking watching people dance to it.
We're gonna like need recordings of you trying to do this, because if you're telling me that you're gonna actually try to learn how to do this sober, that makes that so much better.
I know.
Okay. I'm excited for this.
Could you imagine? And I'm the person that has the least amount of rhythm, I think, in the world. And even in like,
I'm not gonna disagree.
When we went to like nightclubs and stuff in our 20s, I was like, how do I dance with people? I don't even know how to like grind on somebody.
Drank.
Yeah. And I just like, wait. I was like that total weirdo. And that's why I'm just so lucky I found Anthony, because if I didn't, I'd probably honestly still be single.
Oh my gosh, that's so sweet. Yeah. In the weirdest way, but that's so sweet.
We should find some nightclubs. Did you ever go to nightclubs?
What do you think? I didn't even go to frat parties in college. Do you think I went to nightclubs?
No, because I was gonna say we should find some old nightclub photos of us, but
no, I mean, I think our outfits from college speak enough volumes. We don't have a lot of those photos because our one friend that took all those pictures and put them on Facebook, because like that was a thing that we did back then, deleted her Facebook and we lost all the photos. So we don't really have that many, but we really hung out a lot. I would say like the last 2 years of college.
We did. And I like all the videos on like Instagram Reels talking about how people used to dress up to go to parties and we looked like corporate
We did.
people, like
It's so
stretchy skirts
relatable.
and blazers. I was like, why were we wearing blazers to a party?
I did do that.
I know, that's the weirdest part. I was like, what were we thinking?
And like the best part is I had a blazer. I remember it was navy and red striped. And I was like, oh, I can wear this out. And I was like, oh, but like I can also wear it like next week to like a work, like a class presentation. I'm like, those two things should not be the same thing.
I know. It
I
was
don't know
funny.
why we did that. I don't know. And then the
Great time.
bodycon skirts. I know
Terrible.
like bodycon dresses are like a thing now and that's fine.
But like they were all
No, they
Charlotte
were like,
Russe
oh
or
yeah, and they like
Whitfield,
came up here and then you had tank tops.
and your butthole almost came out.
Always, Jess's.
We know.
Always.
Oh,
I know.
those were fun.
I know.
They were so comfy too. It was like yoga pants in skirt form.
Yeah, they were so stretchy.
Yeah, I don't think anybody
But
wears them
once you
anymore.
gain like the freshman 15, sophomore 15,
You did
junior
not wear
15,
those.
no, it's just like very obvious that they're gonna like hug your hips like a little bit more than they
Yeah.
did like when you were like.
I was a really bad dresser. Like I have to find this freaking picture. If Rachel, if she's listening to this, has it. Because when we were hanging
You
out
have
the
to
other
ask
week,
her for it. She'll be able to find
I-
it immediately and we can put it on. social
she
media.
no, it's freaking embarrassing. She was found these pictures of us because we were roommates our freshman year, and in our dorm room hallways
Roommates
before
all 4
going.
years.
Rachel, not the fourth year.
Oh,
Yeah.
we had both had different.
But then I was wearing like this very nice, we used to call them like going out tops. Like, this is my going out tops. It was like this
Yeah.
silk purple tank top, but then I was wearing fucking capris with it. Capris. I looked like a fucking dork, and that's why I did not have a boyfriend in college.
You did. You had many boyfriends in college.
Not good ones. And
Okay,
it
but-
looked like I was wearing capris and a going out top and looked like a fucking nerd.
Oh, we're finding that picture. And I'll find one that has like really bad style for me. It'll be somewhere.
Yeah, I miss those
Do
days.
you remember the American Eagle like tank tops that had like the hearts on them? It was like 2 different colors. And it was like one like pink one. It was like pink and pale hearts and then blue and pale hearts.
No.
Oh, I have a picture. I don't know if I can find it, but I like hid it from the world. But if I can find like there, we also did all of the MacBook like I photo.
Oh, yeah.
Is that
Like
what
the
it's called?
picture things, or it's like the where you just press a button and it counts down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
did that a lot.
That
There's
was like
still
our digital
videos.
camera.
It was. I actually found a digital camera when I was like helping clean my mom's house in my room, and I think I couldn't use it anymore because it stopped like the actual camera part stopped like zooming out when you would turn it on. But I think I can still access the pictures, and I made my mom charge it, and I didn't know this, but she put it in like a cooler that she was also giving me, and I didn't know anything was in the cooler. And Mark opened it a couple of days ago. He's like, "What is this?" And he was like, "Shannon, is this your digital camera?" And I
We
was
used to
like,
take them
I didn't know she gave it to me,
everywhere.
so I'm gonna turn it on, but I don't know how to get it. If I find any pictures, I'm sure I was like smart and deleted a lot of them, or I saved them to like a computer I don't have access to anymore.
They used to have a little card in them, and you take it out and then put it in your computer, right?
Yes, but I don't know how to like do, and also I don't have like a personal computer right now, so.
That was just
But
the
like
best.
the stuff, and then did you do this when we would like be home from breaks? Like you would post videos on your friends' walls.
Yes, just
They all
talking.
keep coming up for me, and it's so embarrassing.
I was like, who are we talking to? We're just talking to Facebook.
It felt like totally normal. I mean, it's so funny because we're doing
the
that
same
right now, but that's actually really funny. But like you would literally just post it on their wall, and all their friends would be able to hear you talking to them recorded, which again is exactly what we're doing right now.
What we
But
did back then was just ridiculous. But I mean, that was the time. It was normal back then. Not anymore. I want you to post a picture or a video on my Facebook wall talking to me. Preferably this weekend during the snowstorm.
What?
I need you to post a video of you talking to me this weekend and post it on my Facebook.
I will not do that.
Just be like, hey, how are you? I hope you're enjoying the snowstorm.
I will not do that. I got so distracted because my phone kept going off and I didn't know like why. And I just like quick looked at it to make sure nothing was wrong. And this is like current situation of my sink right now.
Why is it overflowing?
I'm not sure.
Oh no. Is your garbage disposal broken?
I don't know. I'm gonna not read the texts, but that's why I didn't.
Anything house related stresses me the hell out. And that's just not fun being a homeowner. When shit breaks, you are screwed.
Well, especially because like he is by himself. And
Oh,
so it's probably like,
sorry, Mark. We love you.
oopsies.
Don't send us any more updates of the sink, please.
Yeah, I'm just like,
Yeah.
fine.
We'll just put it on silent.
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 Which, I realized because I like do most of the polls on our social media and I'm really pissed that I never
checked that one.
I never added that one as a poll.
Oh,
like,
you didn't?
No.
Oh.
So maybe I'll do it for this one. Like,
that's okay. We can forget
big
about
people
that.
know that silent is a thing and it's not the same thing as do not disturb or vibrate. Those three things are all different. I'm gonna do that as well. Just to make it very clear and be a jerk that you were the one that didn't know that and everyone else.
I know. Well, I still have high hopes that I'm not the only one out there.
I also maybe purposefully like didn't put a poll of if I should watch Tiger King or not. But I
Because you should.
forgot about that one. So we're not gonna do that. The time has passed.
The time has passed. You probably won't think it's funny anymore.
I told you that before and you told me I still had to watch it. And I was like, I already know what happens and it's from 3 years ago.
Also, speaking of tigers, did you see the controversy about Tom Sandoval?
No. Oh.
He went to the tiger sanctuary and took pictures of like a tiger on his back or something and like sitting next to tigers, and the internet exploded again.
Oh, I did not see
because
that.
they're like, how could you do that? It's animal cruelty. I don't think
Did we expect him to like be a good guy?
No. And freaking James Kennedy commented because he's shaved his mustache and he's like, you're still a worm just without a mustache.
Oh, James Kennedy.
We love him.
There was a thing that was like put on episode 5 from season 4 of Vanderpump Rules at exactly midnight, and it goes Pumptini.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't do it because I fell asleep at 10:15, but that would have been fun.
Did you watch the
it.
recap of Vanderpump from the beginning?
No.
It sucked. It was only 30 minutes.
First of all, it was 30 minutes and it's been what, 11 seasons?
Yeah, and it was 20 minutes with commercials. But I will say old school Vanderpump was TV gold.
Yeah.
With Stassi, she was
Nothing
amazing.
like beats it.
I know.
I still follow her on social media.
I do. I like her. I always wonder if she looks back and laughs at everybody because she's like probably one of the most successful from that show.
I think she's just happy.
Yeah.
And I think like some of the people on that show like are not happy. So I feel like it was probably a good thing that she got out when she did to, have a family and husband that she cares about.
I want a Pumptini.
Pumptini! Okay, so today we're talking about something that we realized we never talked about.
Shockingly.
I know. At least I don't think we did.
We probably did.
No, I really don't. No, I don't think we did.
Yeah, I don't think we did.
How we got engaged and then like some of our wedding things that happened. I don't know if it's like we necessarily have to talk about like all the wedding, but we just figured we always talk about like all the stuff that's happened since we've been married because it is Drunk Wives Club, but the whole point of this podcast is to be relatable to people that aren't married, also that don't drink because we're not drinking now.
We're sober, but we have no problem.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Super fun.
Yeah, it's like the most fun thing we've done. And so we just thought like let's talk about if we have any listeners that are going to be dealing with getting married eventually or are talking about that right now, because I feel like the fall is like a good time to get married. And so I feel like people are probably like really in the planning mode, but everything happens like so early now. Like people.
know. And
out there
it's
bending.
just looking back at it, you just spend so much money. And if I were to ever do it again, I think I would totally elope or like have a destination wedding.
I want to say that I would say the same thing, but like I don't know because
You have a big
everyone,
family.
I have a big family and so does Mark. And so that was like our big thing. Like I just really wanted my family there and obviously like my really close friends too, but I just really wanted my family there and it would have made it like really impossible to elope and have that. And
Yeah.
also just from like a destination perspective, we got married in during the pandemic. That really wouldn't have worked. And also to me, that's even more planning than what like a normal wedding would have been.
True.
Not normal, but like more traditional wedding like would have been. So like I want to say that because we'll get into it, but like planning is like we are also as like a preface, like we are big planners.
We are. I did love the planning aspect of it. It was very stressful, but I feel like I like doing things like that. And I had such a high standard because I'm like, this is my whole life. This is what I do for a living.
Standard.
So like if people come to this, I need it to be a good wedding because I feel like people either talk about how great it was or how bad it was. And I was like, I want to be on the better end of this. But side note on what I did for our 2-year anniversary, I told Anthony I would change my name to Barry finally. And
That's huge.
I started the process. And the other day, and if this has happened to anybody, please let me know in the comments. And I hope my mom's not listening to this because she's definitely going to be mad at me.
She doesn't know.
No, but I bought this box called Newlyweds because it gives you like step-by-step instructions on how to change your name, and all the documents are pre-filled out. And I kept it all in this perfect box because I'm an organized psycho. And the other day I was like, I need something out of that box. And I went to look for it and it wasn't there.
The whole box?
No, the whole folder with all of my name identity things in it. So my social security card is missing. So if anybody steals my identity, you know why. My birth certificate.
Don't tell people that.
Yeah, they don't know the number, but it's definitely in my house. It's in my house somewhere because I had it when I changed my license, and I just don't know where it is.
I told you it was in your house, and you told me no shit. You were mad though, so I could tell. It was like not the time or place to say like, no, I know it's there somewhere. You were like, no, I'm so organized and it's not there. And I'm like, okay. And like, usually it's the opposite. Like I'm freaking out and you're like, no, it's fine. It was actually pretty cool to be on that side. And you were like, no, Shannon. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, because I was trying not to freak out. I was like, it's fine. It's all easily replaceable. But just the fact that it's somewhere.
I started panicking after you said that because I didn't know where my stuff was. So I actually looked for it and I found it. Just to be sure.
Shockingly easy to replace your life documents.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, I'm still waiting to replace my identity card, but I got my birth certificate. So I'm a legal birth of
You're the
US.
same person you were for the last 33 years.
So if you change your name, it's a pain in the ass, but I mean, I don't know. I have such strong opinions on name change versus not name change because I just don't think you need to anymore.
No, we just talked to, I like was at a family party recently and we talked about that because my one cousin is getting married in October and she's changing her name. And then my one cousin got married 2 years ago and she's not changing her name, just like was never like a plan. And so like I'm in the middle, like, I don't know if I'm changing it or not because I don't want to. Again, we've definitely talked about this. Like I'm socially my husband's name. But I kept telling myself, because this is just like kind of who I am as a person. I'm like a big procrastinator on like a lot of things. And so when this was all like when we were talking about changing my name, it was like a big thing for Mark. Now he doesn't care because he does realize like it doesn't change anything. Our son's name is his name. It's whatever. But I was like, all right, well, my passport expires like I don't know if it was the year after or 6 months after we got married. And I was like, so I'll change my passport like when it goes to expire. Do you think I did that? No. So then I was like, all right, I don't have a passport. I still don't have a passport. It has now been years. Sorry. And I was like, I don't have that.
See, she should drink more hot water.
I'm trying, it's actually drying in my throat. So I was like, okay. Then I didn't do that. So now I still don't have a passport. So then I was like, okay, my license expires in 3 years. So I was like, I like definitely have time. I will start doing it when it goes to expire.
Did you?
It expires next month. I was like,
Well,
so
you'll get to it.
I really will. I really will. Like again, in my head, other than professionally, like my name
you're
is
Vandenburg.
Yeah, that's just like my name.
You're
So
Mrs.
it's
Vandenburg.
fine, but it's just like it's just funny. I'm like, every time I'm like, oh, I'll just do it when I need to do this thing. Oh, I'll just do it. No, it's like the second time that's happened.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. So
It's fun. But yeah, I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, your wedding should be what you want it to be. And I went into it saying, I'll listen to people's opinions, but I feel like sometimes when you're planning a wedding, outsiders can be very opinionated, and it's your day, so it should be exactly how you want it to be.
I am now realizing that we have talked about like certain tidbits of some of this, but not like in full. We haven't given it our advice on it. That was good, Jess.
Thank you.
That was good.
See, I give great sober advice, not great advice when I am IPA.
Sometimes you do.
Yeah,
Sometimes you do.
Better advice. You're always the one I text first when I'm in.
I try to be like the voice of reason because like I'll be honest. Or I also know like if you really just need to hear something like nice, like I will tell you the nice thing, even after that's like not what it should really be. Like I know, other than that time where you were like, no, Shannon, I lost my documents, you're an idiot.
I don't remember doing that.
You did it. You did it in our Snapchat group. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was fine. It was fine. I thought it was so funny because usually I'm the one that's like, no, Jess. But I was like, okay, well, but I had like
you lost your thoughts.
I did, but I did have a hard time planning my wedding because I didn't listen to my brother's advice, and he got married 3 years before me.
Oh, I didn't realize he was married that long.
Yeah, that might not be right. 2 years before. Whatever. I think it was
got married before you.
I think it was like 2 years before we got engaged, and then it ended up being like 3 years. Who cares? Nobody cares. It doesn't matter. But
I care.
He gave advice and I didn't listen to it. And so my advice, because that was really good advice, my advice is to listen to the people that have done it before, especially the people in your family that have done it before, that know that they will have like certain problems. So when my brother got married, like they went and did venues by themselves. And he told me to do that, and I did it. And that was really a very hard time. We all went together. Me, Mark, my mom, and his parents. And there were just like a lot of opinions, and we both try to, me more so than Mark, try to like just please everybody if it's possible. And I like thought that would be possible because I thought surely like we're the ones getting married, like they want us to be happy for us.
Yeah.
And they were, but I think it's something that, I have an 18-month-old, so it's not like I know how I will be years from now, but I think it's just like a little bit more of a generational thing where they have been waiting also like 30 years to like see their kids get married. So they had a vision in their head as to like what they wanted, and trying to like field that, because like they were not that none of the things were the same. Like Mark and I were mostly on the same page. And we wanted it to be special for them. And it was, but I think that it probably could have been special for them, like not at the very beginning of the planning process, because it just didn't start our planning off on the right foot. And it also like really, really strained relationships like a little bit. And it wasn't like necessary looking back. So we kind of stopped doing that, but we should have just listened to my father.
Yeah.
Because it was like he knew like that it probably wouldn't have gone well, and it didn't. So it was like a little bit of like a bitter time like at the beginning, and I feel like that's somewhat common for some people. And I think like I've just known a lot of people that have gotten married before me, gotten married after me, and that's like a big thing, like trying to find the balance of like what your parents and not even just your parents, like your parents and your family, like their expectations, like what they want, like what they're envisioning, and like if it doesn't align with what you want,
it just creates
it does. Like
tension.
you should pick what you want,
Mhm.
but I don't know. I think you just have to like pick your battles. Like, what happened when you were looking at venues? Like, was it just you and Anthony?
Yeah, so it started out being just me and Anthony. And you know, I hate when he's right. Like he's like, I always want to be right. And my
Do you know
original
this is the first time in any of the episodes that you have admitted that Anthony was right at one time? I had to call it out.
cut that part out.
No, I had to call it out for him.
Because
I've been waiting.
Yeah, my original vision is I wanted to get married at a winery because I love wine, and I always looked at weddings in vineyards, and I thought they were just so cool and very pretty and unique. I saw that and I didn't like it. So we looked at a bunch of vineyards, and I actually fell in love with this one. I think it was in Lancaster. And the only thing with a vineyard is it's a blank space. So you have to bring in everything by yourself.
Yeah.
And being in Lancaster, although I love Lancaster, Anthony was like, you're never going to have time to do this and like make
40,
sure it's perfect.
Just like it's like 40 minutes.
Yeah, and going back and forth. And then I think at those types of venues too, like afterwards, you either have to clean up yourself with your bridesmaids, which nobody wants to do that shit, or hire somebody. So after
which you also don't want to do that
I was
because you're
like,
spending so much money.
Yeah, I was like, fuck that. I want a venue where everything's there. So we picked the Pyramid Club because it had views of the city at night and everything.
In Philly.
And actually Anthony found that one online and he said we should go look at that.
Oh, wow.
So we looked at everything by ourselves. And then once we actually picked one, we took my parents. Because by that time I was like, well, I mean, we already back out, but we already put down the deposit.
If you say you don't like it, you're just being mean.
You have to owe me the money for the deposit. But yeah, I mean, I thought the venue process was fun, but then it was also stressful because you're like, you want to pick the perfect one. And after you look at a couple, I'm like,
some of them all look the same.
Yeah.
Then it's like, you don't realize, like, at least I didn't realize how much you needed to know about your wedding when you pick a venue, which is like one of the it has to be one of the first things you do.
Yeah.
But then they're like, well, how many people do you want? And I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, well, when do you want to get married? And I'm like, I know a lot of people know that. Like, I did not.
Yeah, I didn't.
I don't know.
I think I only knew what I wanted to serve as food. That's about it.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, I'm going in. I know that. But like, I feel like the date is also dependent on when the venue is available.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, and that's what I was going to say too, like as advice, like before you start getting other people's opinions, like know what you want, know what your significant other wants, and know what you value like the most. Because some people really want an October wedding. They really want a fall wedding. They really want a September wedding because it's like kind of nice. But it's not like 100 degrees, hopefully. Like that's like what they want and that's what they care about. So they'll find a venue based on what's available when they want to get married. But there's a lot of other people who are like, I don't care where, like when I get married, I care about where I get married. So I'll just like do that. And I think that is like an important thing to know before you plan to, because we didn't know that either. And then we saw 10 places. So after we like saw a few, we realized like that we care about the place more than we care like about when.
Yeah. I also, there's just like so many details going into it, and you don't really know until you start. And then it's just so much freaking
That is
research goes
more,
into it.
I know.
And you're just like on the freaking knot for hours looking up reviews of everything and all these things you gotta book.
Yeah.
And then I tried to keep it all in a budget line, but then I also feel like you have a budget in mind, but then by the week, like a week or two leading up to the event, you're like, oh, well, what's another $100? I already spent a shit ton of money. I might as well spend $100 to make it perfect.
Yeah, there's like a thing, I don't know if it's like an actual stat or like somebody just said this, but basically like you come up with a number at the beginning and just assume it's gonna be double. So like if you know you can only pay $5,000 from start to finish, like
Make it
start your
10.
budget at 2,500 at the beginning, because it will end up being 5,000.
That's crazy. And actually, Chelsea told me when I started planning it, she's like, just be prepared. You're gonna give the venue a final number and people aren't going to show up and you still have to pay for those people. And you know what, that happened? And I was
Do you still talk to those people?
No, and like some of them, like Anthony.
How many people was it?
I want to say it was at least 10. Like
That's a lot.
A couple of them,
Like 10 that just did not show up, or 10 that you gave the final head count and some said they couldn't come and then some didn't show up.
some like literally called me the week of and said we can't make it.
Yeah,
I was
that
like,
happened to me too.
why?
But I was like, 10 people just straight up not showing up. That's a lot.
Yeah, like we knew people weren't going to show
But
up,
then
but
a
we already
few
gave the
also,
count.
yeah.
Yeah, and I also felt bad because like a couple of Anthony's friends, he's like, well, we can just fill them in, they can come. And I was like, that's fine, but I also don't want them to feel like they were not invited in
I
the
think
beginning.
if you're honest about stuff like that, especially now that everything is so expensive.
Yeah. Be like, hey, just come fill the seats.
Yeah, like it's fine. Like, hey, what are you doing? Like
Yeah.
we like years ago, we had 2 weddings within like a month of each other. It actually might have been like a couple of weeks. And we were on like the B list for both of them, but they were really honest. Like one had like a major family problem and half the family couldn't go. So again, they already picked this venue, they already picked all the food, like they didn't pick the amount of people, but they were like, we have a minimum, which I also feel like is a good thing to talk about, because no one really talked. I feel like people know now, but I don't know why. Like I just didn't really know any of this. Like a minimum is a bitch. Like that shit sucks. And I didn't have one because we picked a time that was off season, and so we didn't have a minimum, and that's why we still had our wedding on the day that we were supposed to have it, because our venue tried to get us to move it because it was during the pandemic, but it was towards the end of the pandemic when things were already rescheduled 2 to 3 times just. And I was like, I'm not rescheduling it because we would have not lost any money at all. We didn't have a single minimum spend.
I don't know.
So
if
we were like,
them.
okay, we'll still have it and we'll have 5 people. And they were like, no. And they were like, all right, we'll figure it out. And they did. Because we have, I think I talked about this in another episode, but like we've obviously known each other for so long. You're probably not new to listening to this, so we've known each other for quite some time. And I was like, I'm getting married that day, no matter what, because we got married in a Catholic church. They still had weddings, like they didn't close.
Yeah.
No one was really going to church during the pandemic, but like they didn't close. So I was like, that's like where the wedding is. And I think that's like a big part of it too, that I think gets lost in like all of the planning of weddings, because it's like, you're talking about your vendors, you're talking about trying to please people, you're worried about what everybody in your wedding party is wearing, you're worried about what you're wearing, you're worried about so much stuff that I think sometimes like the actual purpose of why you're getting married does get forgotten. And I will say, like, I don't like give Mark and I like a lot of credit, but that is the one thing that regardless of the planning, we were like, we just can't wait to be married.
Yeah.
Not like we can't, yes, we really wanted a party and we were really excited for it. And we also put so much time and effort into it. So I'm not saying that like it wouldn't have been devastating if we didn't have it, but I was like, I'm marrying you on this day. And I'm so excited for you to be my husband. Like, that's what we focused on. And I think more people have to do that.
A lot of the people who pivoted during COVID and did like the backyard weddings,
Yeah.
I loved it because I'm like, they had the people there that they wanted. And really, it just like made you take a step back and be like, do I
Focus
really have
on the
to
marriage.
freaking invite all these people, or do I want it to be like my very close friends and family in my backyard? And I think that's just as special as like a big ordeal wedding.
Yeah, I don't think it needs to be like super crazy. I think it just should be like what you want it. But then, like you said, like some people didn't have a choice and they were like, well, I just want to get married to you. So I'm gonna have this backyard wedding. And then they loved it.
Yeah.
So,
or like the parking lot weddings where people were like watching from their cars. I loved it. I was like, that's so sweet.
My one coworker, like I remember he was supposed to get married like the year before me. I don't know. The pandemic was so long, but like probably like 7 months before me. Like I got married in March and he was supposed to get married like, you know, June or July of the year before. And so like one day he like randomly chatted me like in our work chat and was like, so guess what? And like sent me a picture and they got married in the field with 4 people. And he was like, this was just getting so annoying. And they got married. And now they have 2 kids. I know.
And less stress of a wedding.
Yeah, they never had like another wedding because then I think that became like a weird thing too because people were getting married and they had like a small wedding
and then they got married again.
Their wedding. And I was like, but I never understood that until I realized like they have a minimum spend at places, so they had to have a party.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that industry is like wild just for that reason. Like, oh, you want like a wedding in September? You have to spend $200 per person, a minimum of like 50 people.
They definitely took advantage of some people during that time.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I think it was hard. There's like obviously so many emotions because it's something that, you know, a lot of people just like dream of, and then or you could be me who didn't dream of it until I started planning it. And then I was like, oh, this is cool. This is cool. And so you have like all these emotions, but then you also have all these finances. So like it is a big thing, but so you would have eloped.
I think I would have. I mean, I don't know. My situation was weird.
I
think I would have eloped, or I would have eloped and then just had a big party. Because I don't think like the ceremony to me was important for Anthony and I, but the actual reception, I felt like it was almost for everybody else because you go around the whole room thanking everybody. And then by the time you're done, it's like you have an hour left.
Yeah.
And I definitely didn't eat.
You should have eaten. I made sure I ate. That was my job at Missy's wedding.
To make sure she ate.
I was like, no, you gotta eat.
I know. You don't get any of the good like cocktail food.
Oh no, you did it. Then you didn't do it right.
I know.
I will say our wedding was so long.
The cocktail hour was like half the wedding.
It was the cocktail hour was an hour and a half instead of an hour because we knew pictures were going to be really long and we picked our venue because of the cocktail hour venue. And I was like, I'm not getting this food. And one of my like favorite memories was like running around like all these pictures and stuff, and then I was like able to go in and like say hi to people, and I like one of my friends came up to me and I was just eating like mashed potatoes and I was just like, you can say anything you want, like I'm starving. Like, this is amazing.
No, because it goes so fast and you sometimes forget to eat.
Yeah, I also think it was like interesting for our wedding because like the world was shut down up until probably like the end of January.
You got in right.
We got married 2 months later. So people, what was that like 2 years? I got married in no, it was a full year. it was a full year of the pandemic.
It was 20.
Because I got married in 21 and the pandemic started in March of 2020.
Yeah.
So it was a full year of people not doing anything. And
we were just ready to
it was
get
very
out.
clear that people were like, you know, and that there were other people who, like, given comfortability and, like, you know, just like their thoughts, like, we're not comfortable coming. Mark and I totally respected that. We were just hoping that they respected us getting married, because we were like, you don't have to come, but again, we're getting married.
Yeah,
So
we're
there were
getting
a lot of
married either
people-
way.
There was actually like, the majority of Mark's family did not come to the reception. They just like weren't comfortable with it. We
But they
totally
came to the
respected it.
ceremony.
It was also very nice because they all called us and they were like, I'm sorry, I'm just like not comfortable with that. But they all came to the ceremony, and it was
Yeah.
really, really, like, it was just very nice. It was really nice. And then, yeah, we got married, and then you got married 5 weeks later.
It was just the wedding season of
I know, but
friends.
then, like, at the end of that year,
I think everything started to shut
everything
down
started to
again.
shut down again.
Yeah, I was like,
So it
well,
was
thank God we
mostly
got
between,
freaking
like,
married.
I mean, like ours was a stretch, but I would say like yours, like May to like October seemed to be fine.
Yeah,
And then it like
all of a
started
sudden
to
it
shut
was like,
down again. And
yeah.
it's like, well, at least we're wives now.
Yeah, because I think we got married in Philly, and our coordinator was basically like, we are technically not allowed to be open, but we're ready to do it and we're going to do it because we don't know what's going to happen in the next couple of months.
Yeah, because I don't know, we said this in a previous episode, but I don't think we said it yet for this one. Like, you rescheduled your wedding twice.
Yeah, and I was just fucking over it. And I was like, if I have to re-buy shit that was dated one more time, I'm never gonna get married.
I remember you sent out your save the date.
And then I had to
And
be
I
like,
changed
just
it.
kidding.
I changed it because it was like, what was your original date?
I think it was May 2nd.
And then did you say
And then it was
It was
August.
August 8th or something like
Yeah,
that.
and then it was May 1st.
Right. So something that you had somehow, I don't know how, because with those numbers that doesn't really make sense, but I like changed it and I was like, I fixed it. And it was like your third wedding date. And I was like, nope, May 2nd. I fixed it. Like,
It's fine.
I think it was like from May 1st to May 2nd or something. And I was
Yeah.
like, no, I was like, you too. Like, I
Yeah.
was like, it's fine.
Because by that time you have all this money invested in the vendors and the venue, so they're like,
That was
well,
a
if you
hard, yeah.
stop, or if you like pull out now, you're gonna lose all this money. So I'm
You're
like,
gonna
oh,
lose money, and then those people are also gonna lose money. And it
Yeah.
was like obviously like a hard time. So
yeah, I'm glad that's over though, and we're married. Now we can just enjoy going to other people's weddings.
I know I'm not like a big wedding goer.
I have mixed, I guess it depends where it is. I like them if they're like my really good friends. I don't like going to just like a wedding that you're not technically like super good friends with them.
Oh yeah. I am at a point now where I think I really just like family weddings.
Yeah, like I love Shane and Tara's wedding. Their
Not that
wedding was beautiful.
like I'm not saying I'm not gonna have a good time, but I do think now that I also like have a kid, it's
Different.
really hard because
Yeah,
we don't have it especially like with our family, it's gonna be interesting because like my mom is our babysitter. So like who am I gonna ask to stay to watch him? And we have 2 weddings this year. And like both family. And so my
Who's
mom
gonna-
is gonna be there. So like,
yeah,
who is gonna watch
Brady.
until like 1 a.m.? I don't know.
Just take him.
No,
Well,
no, no.
but yeah, if you're planning a wedding, good luck.
Good luck. But no, and
you'll have fun.
You'll have fun. Definitely make parts of it fun. And I think like to your point, you said like it's your wedding. Try and do like what makes you happy, even though that's going to be really hard. Like in the end, hopefully the people that love you, that don't agree with you, will get over it and understand later on that that's what you wanted, and it'll be a great time.
Yeah, shoot for the stars. And if people piss you off, there's always tequila or vodka or wine.
There's so many options of
We don't know
alcohol.
anything about that.
I know, I was gonna say, Can you tell that we're really excited? I feel like it can go one of two ways. Like it's gonna go where we actually like really don't care and it's like not a big deal. Or
It's definitely gonna go the
I
opposite.
don't know. I think by my birthday.
Yeah.
I think by like mid-February, I'll be like, all right, I gotta have some stress relief at some point in time. But yeah, good luck to all the wedding planners. And if anybody has anything relatable that they want to talk about that with, like,
Yeah, let us know.
I
Let us
know,
know how your wedding planning went. Because I feel like a lot of our friends now are married.
yeah. Or like even if you are not married, but you're engaged and you're planning, or you're not engaged, but you're planning, because people do that too. Like, what was or has been the most stressful part of the wedding planning process for you? What was yours?
The most stressful part.
Yes, and you have to take out the pandemic because obviously that was ours. Well, I'm speaking for me, but that was mine.
My stressful part was I went in very naive and did not think about how much a wedding cost because I asked some of my friends who got married. I was like, what was your budget? And they told me, and I based it off of that. And then we started paying for things, and I was like, uh-oh, we have a long time to go, and I am very close to our budget. So I think it's just incredibly expensive. Like no matter where you do it, even if you
It
want like a
is.
very basic wedding, it's just freaking expensive.
Yeah.
So I think that was the most stressful part because Anthony was working like crazy, and that was when he was going to Hawaii for like a week and a half at a time. But he had to because he's like, this is paying for our wedding. And we were very against my parents paying for a big chunk of it because I wanted to go into it being like, we paid for this ourselves, like it's this beautiful thing. So it was just stressful on the both of us. And then on top of it, when it kept getting delayed, it was just like, oh my God, it's costing more money. Like, how does this
I
shit keep
know.
adding up?
I know.
So I think that was definitely a high stress for us.
Yeah.
But it all worked out. It always does.
Yeah. I think same thing about like the pandemic, but if we're going based on anybody that gets married at any time, hopefully like no one will have to
Yeah, you
deal with
won't have
that
to
again.
reschedule.
But I would say mine was the beginning part of it. But then also which is like, it's kind of pandemic related, but I booked a makeup vendor. And she basically told me that like I forget like when it was, but it was probably like a couple of months after I booked her. She was like, yeah, like I'm not gonna do any of your wedding parties makeup. Like I'm only gonna do yours, and you have to come to Philly to get it done the day you're getting married. And I was like, I'm not gonna do that.
That's pointless.
And so she thought, again, I think it was like because of the pandemic, because she had like a lot of questions, and she was like, are people traveling? And I was like, yes, like two of my bridesmaids like don't live here, like, and she was like, I'm not comfortable with that, so we're not gonna do it at all, and you have to come to me, and I'm only doing your makeup. And I was like, well, I signed a contract that doesn't say that, and I got my deposit back, and I had to find somebody else. So, but it was great. It all worked out. And I think that's like another thing. Like it's all gonna work out. All gonna work out. But that was super stressful. And I actually reached out to my photographer, who is amazing.
We loved her.
Captured by Jessica. If you wanna like take a look. Captured by Jessica Lynn, I think.
She doesn't know.
No, but it's
We'll
Jessica,
link it.
it's Jessica Lynn Photography. Love her. But she really helped me. I was like, help, like I need this like makeup person. And now if I ever need my makeup done again, I would use who she suggested and who I had. So
Yeah, and the other thing, I think you should ask your vendors their opinion because I feel like the wedding vendors are all so intertwined.
as long as you know you like the vendor that
Yeah.
you're asking, and that's why I felt very comfortable with her.
They're very good at referrals.
Yeah. She actually did my makeup. I think I said this, but my makeup artist did my makeup because I did a photo shoot with my photographer before. And she actually brought her in to like do my makeup so that I would have like know her. She's just the best. But yeah, so it all works out. It's all super
Pop some
stressful.
champagne
But
and live it up.
Getting married is fun. And also, just to be totally PC, if you don't want to get married, that's fine too. So, you know.
Yeah, you can still be a part of Drunk Wives Club.
I know. I just told somebody about this and I was like, yeah, it's called Drunk Wives Club. And they were like, oh, well, I'm not like a drunk wife, so I don't know. And I was like, we don't really talk.
We welcome
This is probably
everybody.
the episode the most that we talked about, like
being a wife,
but not even really just like.
It's so weird to say like my husband. I still feel like somebody chose me to be their wife.
Yeah,
I'm a wife.
Mark and I talk about that all the time. I'm like, you actively chose this guy out?
Yeah.
Like, oh, wow.
I know. Like the other
Thank you.
day, Anthony was talking to somebody on the phone and he's like, well, I have to check with my wife. And he hung up and I was like, who's that? And then like the other day I had to go get my car fixed and they're like, Mrs. Berry. And I was like, who? I was like, did I really put Jessica Berry as a reservation? They're like, yeah. I'm like, huh,
yeah,
who knew?
the name for our stuff is really throwing me off. Like all my reservations for stuff are still like, because technically it's supposed to be like your legal name. So sometimes I'm like, I call for the vet. And that is, I'm like, yeah, Gus. And they're like, yeah, what's the last name? I'm like, I don't know.
It's one of the
It's been
two.
2.5 years. Like, I don't know what his name is. I don't know
who we
if
are.
it's mine or Mark's. So, but either way, that's our really great sober advice.
What? Oh my God. And we're at the perfect time.
Perfect.
Well, I mean, I think we have to do one more this sober. We do.
Yeah.
So we'll still be sober for one more episode. Oh my God, that's probably going to be it's going to be a hard one or a really easy one because it's the last week of January. So we will be, I don't know.
It's the last week of January and it's also like not full, like February 1st is a Thursday.
Thirsty Thursday. We're bringing it back college style, but we have to wait till Friday because Shannon fucked up.
I did not fuck up. You
Just kidding.
telling us that we have to do this.
I know.
I have a party every single like January
Year's
1st.
Day.
I was like, I'm not doing that.
I know. And I was like, maybe I'll just stop
I
by. And I
just
was like,
didn't come.
I will be tempted. I didn't because I knew I was going to be tempted. And
That's not why you did not come.
my mom was making hot dogs and sauerkraut.
That is why you did not come. It's
a-
sausage and sauerkraut.
It's like
It's
a
like the
good luck
tradition.
thing. But I'm
Mhm.
not a big sauerkraut person, but I love hot dogs.
Yeah, you
So
got
I am
a hot
good
dog
luck.
and a burger, and Jess is there.
Yeah.
She's there.
Don't tempt me with a good time. Well, we hope you tap in for our final dry January episode next week.
Rate, review, subscribe.
I never know what to say.
I know you've actually never done anything of that before, and it was weird because I was like,
I'm not gonna do it because I forgot.
So, okay, I'll do it again. All right. Share our social media and whatever platform you listen to this on with anyone and everyone you know. And thanks so much for listening. Rate, review, subscribe, comment if you'd like on anything that you want us to talk about. And tap in next week.
Bye.
Bye.